I'm Adam, the OcCULTure critic, and I have been trapped in this room for 10 days now. It is terrifying because there is a cursed Blu-ray of Twilight If you hear this, if you see this, please come for me. Do whatever you can to destroy the Blu-ray. It will kill you. Okay, right. Okay, fine. I'll do it. I'll review it. As you can see, it is hard for me to be able to sleep because I have to review these damn movies, and I got a cursed Blu-ray that's fucking with me. Twilight Saga Eclipse is not the worst one. It's not good, but it's not the worst. God. There are things about this series that I really hate. It being boring is the top one. But the other issue is how this series thinks it knows how teenagers think. And it doesn't. I mean, it's a fantasy, so teenagers do fantasy shit, yeah. But this feels less like how teenagers are and more like how the writers think, and that makes them unlikable, especially when you see their more negative aspects that you can view them as irredeemable. I hate to continue comparing it, but Harry Potter did this better. It was a fantasy setting. They did fantasy shit, but Harry and the gang were kids. They felt real. They felt natural as they grew. This doesn't. But anyway, the story is Bella and Edward are trying to take the next step in their relationship that's only lasted a year. And that relationship is Edward has asked Bella to marry him. Meanwhile, Victoria, now played by Bryce Dallas Howard, has been feeding off of random people in Seattle, turning them into vampires to build an army to go to Forks, Washington to exact her revenge on Bella and Edward. I'll give it this. The vampires are actually intimidating in this for once. I mean, it is quite... I mean, I'm serious. I'm fucking serious. It is amazing what you can do when you decide to hire a director who has made a vampire movie before and understands that vampires have to be fucking terrifying. Now, they're not that terrifying. That, after all, this is good for young teen girls, but they're treated like monsters, at least Victoria's Army is, and they're treated like as they are supposed to be, terrifying, and it does that to an extent pretty effectively. One of the other positives I have to say about it, I actually give a shit about some of the minor characters. Particularly Rose and Jasper. Mostly because they have backstories. They actually have shit to do, not only shit to do in this movie, but they're given backstories that make them really compelling and interesting, and somehow I want to see movies about them. Rose gets a story where she tells Bella why she doesn't particularly care for her. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that Bella gets to choose to be a vampire, whereas Rose didn't. And they show her back in the 1930s, where she was engaged to this guy who is a complete piece of shit, runs into him and his buddies drunk off their asses, and then they proceed to beat and rape her within an inch of her life. And then she gets her revenge as a vampire. I want to see that. A vampire's version of I Spit on Your Grave. Why isn't there a movie about that? Why are we not seeing something like that? Seriously, I want to see something like that. You got Rosalie coming in, dressed up like a bride, killing the man who beat and raped her. I want to see that. It is so much more interesting than what we are given. And then you got Jasper, who used to be a Confederate soldier, who turns into a vampire. Again, I'd rather see that. Seriously. There are interesting aspects to this series. I am not going to pretend there isn't. The problem, but like I said before, the problem is we're focusing on the wrong thing. And that's what's so infuriating about this series, and particularly with this movie, even though I like it the most. I don't love it. I think it's still bad, but I was at least able to watch this and not try and fall asleep. The biggest issue I have with this is not that nothing happens. Because shit happens in this. Shit actually happens in this for once. The problem I have with this is that it shows how unlikable our leads are. Particularly Edward and Jacob. They are so goddamn manipulative and honestly quite abusive towards Bella. Bella's no better because she puts up with this shit because she's in a fantasy world. The majority of this movie is Edward and Jacob just having a fucking dick measuring contest. They're having a pissing contest over who is better suited for Bella, and it just shows how fucking terrible they are. They're just like, neither one of them would be a good fit. Not only be a good fit for her, even though I think she's a fucking doormat anyway, but they would abuse the fuck out of her. And it is very clear. First off, Edward, it fucking gaslights her. Like, if you don't see it, then you're not paying attention. He gaslights her, constantly doesn't tell her anything that concerns him, and then throws it back on her, even though he's allowing her into his world, therefore putting her in danger, and he needs to let her know this shit. Jacob somehow is worse. I don't know how. I don't know how the werewolf is the one I hate the most. And I'll definitely, and boy is he even more unlikable in the next movie. But this one, he is fucking insufferable. First off, he bitches about not getting Bella. It's just him moping about the fact that Bella has chosen someone else. Get over it, Mr. Nice Guy. Just fucking get over it. The other thing is, he actually forces a kiss on Bella. Now, granted, this is the one time she actually decides to do react to that in a reasonable way, which was punching in the face for forcing a kiss on her, because that's sexual assault. And yet, somehow, her father does not reprimand him. I don't know. I just don't know what to say about this. Other than these guys are fucking insufferable. And the other thing is, and it is going back to New Moon, which I think is still the worst. Which is, this movie feels more like a direct sequel to the first one than it does to New Moon. Like, I feel like, aside from the werewolves, Edward proposing to Bella, and the Volturi, I feel like if you take New Moon out, nothing will change. Just take a few aspects, add them to Eclipse, or add some to Twilight, add some to Eclipse. It'll be longer, but you know what? It'll still... But New Moon wouldn't have happened. New Moon means nothing. And that is an issue with this, is that nothing happens, and then you feel like, and you feel like these movies could have been shorter. Not only shorter, but combined. Just combined. And boy, are we going to have a little chat about that in the next one. I will say that the fight sequence is not bad either, though. The final battle in this movie, where the werewolves and the vampires team up to fight this army of newborn vampires, it's pretty gruesome. Like, it gets violent. You see vampires getting their heads smashed off. Yeah, like, they're getting decapitated, but it's like diamonds, because, you know, this is a PG-13, so we can't have blood, but we can have decapitations. I will say, it does get you. Like, there are some pretty brutal kills in this movie. And again, that's a testament to the director, who directed 30 Days a Night. He knows how to direct vampires. Or I should say, he knows how to make a vampire movie. Is what he does. Now, the biggest issue I have is vampires are terrifying in this. The problem is, other than Victoria, I don't know any of their names. Even though they focus on one of the other vampires, who's like her second in command and her boy toy. And I don't even remember his fucking name. And they say it more than once. And then there's another character who was a vampire, and like, she's just kind of there. There's no real arc to her. And I feel like instead of having the pissing contest between Jacob and Edward, we could have had more towards this character. That way her death is a little more tragic and sad, because I'm supposed to feel something for this person, and I don't. I just don't. Oh yeah, and Dakota Fanning's in this movie too. Yeah. She's in this too. For like 5 minutes. that's it. I don't know what else to say about this movie because I don't hate it as much as the others. Like, there are infuriating things, like I've said, but I don't hate this one. I don't know, maybe it's because I was able to sit through it a lot easier than the others, but this one, I just have no issue with. I think the only other issue I have with it is that Ashley Greene kind of took a back seat in this movie, which is sad because I like her. She's in it, she gets a few lines, she's still a fan favorite, but they clearly put her in the back seat just to give us more of the other characters like Jasper and Rose, which I'm glad, I'm happy for, because now I know their names, I know what they look like. I know Jasper looks strangely like Adam Driver, but shorter and blonde. I know it's not him, but it's pretty close. And Anna Kendrick still is too good for this fucking movie. Just too good. Still too good. Still too good. Same thing with Robert Pattinson. Thank God he's Batman. Look, these movies are draining me. This Blu-ray is killing me. I only got 2 more of these left, and I don't know if I have the strength for it. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to survive Christmas. But I'm going to try. I'm going to fucking try. With that said, I give Twilight Saga Eclipse a 5 out of 10. This movie is not as bad as the others. Things happen. Edward and Jacob are fucking insufferable as they bitch and moan towards each other. Bella is just as much of a fucking doormat as she was in the last 2. But there are interesting aspects like the backstories. We even get a backstory about the tribe in this Jacob's tribe first encountering vampires centuries ago. And it was a pretty good scene. Victoria, Bryce Dallas Howard, better actress. I know, I didn't talk about her, but she's really not in the movie that much. And like when she is, she's good because it's Bryce Dallas Howard and she's a good actress. But she's not in enough for me to really remember. And Billy Burke's in it too, and I like him. That's it for me, guys. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, I am on the Slasher app at OcCULTure Critic. I'm Adam the OcCULTure Critic. I get scared because I don't care. And I gotta get out of this before it kills me.